We are constantly shifting parallel realities. We just don't notice it because the realities we're shifting to are very similar. So we have to make some sort of change to be able to notice a difference. So hey guys, I'm Laura and I make videos that will awaken your awareness. So in this video, I want to teach you about shifting parallel realities and how to shift to the reality that you want. It's a bit of an esoteric sort of topic, but it's extremely interesting. So I want to share a quote to you from Bashar about shifting parallel realities. But first, if you don't know who Bashar is, he's very well known in the spiritual community. He is an alien being that's being channeled by this man called Daryl. I can't remember Daryl's last name, but Daryl channels this alien being called Bashar, who Bashar means messenger in English, and he's basically guiding humanity through his messages. He's trying to steer us the right way, not the wrong way. He's definitely giving us very useful and useful sort of information that's valuable. And if you're like me and you don't know much about Bashar and you sort of like first hear about him, I had doubts. I was skeptical. I was like, how do you know this person's actually channeling an alien being? So I watched a documentary and learned the background story, and they even had Daryl's brain hooked up to these machines whilst he was channeling Bashar, and it showed the part in his brain that has his personality switches off when Bashar's speaking through him. So he says, well, if that part of my brain switched off, who's speaking? It's obvious he's actually channeling something. So I thought, it seems legit to me. But the information that Bashar comes out with is amazing. So I wanted to share this quote about shifting parallel realities. He says, "You never change the planet you're on. You change yourself and shift to a parallel reality version that's already more representative of the change you've made within yourself." So this is an inner game. Okay, so Bashar also says we shift 1 billion parallel realities per second. That's crazy, right? How the heck are we shifting so much in a little amount of time? I don't know, my human brain can't understand it, but that's what Bashar says. We are constantly shifting, we just don't actually notice it. Now, most people are running on autopilot. They're thinking the same thoughts, they're feeling the same feelings, they're doing the same things. And Dr. Joe Dispenza says you have to break the habit of the autopilot mind. So you got to think of yourself as like a computer that's been programmed, and we have these routines that are programmed into us. So what I mean is, like, when you get up, you have to be at work at say 8 o'clock. You got to be at work. So you get up at say 6:30, and you might have a shower. You might get ready in the mirror and brush your teeth, have breakfast. You have your morning routine set out, and you generally do the same routine, right? You get up and you just program to do this and do this and do this, and you don't really give it much thought because it's just programmed into you. So we need to break out of that programming to be able to shift to a different parallel reality that's not going to be similar. Because we're shifting to similar ones because we're just doing the same things. We're in these same routines. We're thinking, feeling, acting the same. So not a lot's changing. So what happens is, what it means is we have to change the way we think, feel, and act. So the way we think, feel, and act, that makes up your state of being. Now, your state of being is key. That is what is going to determine which timeline you are going to be on. So it also, the way you think, feel, and act, it also makes up your personality. It's basically the same thing. The state of being and the personality is the same thing, right? Your personality creates your personal reality. So if we want to change our personal reality, we have to change our personality. How do we change our personality? We have to change the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act. So, like I said, most of us are on autopilot with this. That's why we're just getting the same results. We're shifting to similar realities. We have to shift this to get to a new timeline. That's the key. That's what Bashar was saying, is you have to change what's going on inside to shift to the preferred reality that you want. And you have to vibrationally match the reality that you want. So what quantum physics teaches us is that the reality you want, anything you desire, is already available in the quantum field. You just have to be in the right vibrational frequency to get it to come into your reality. So how can we start shifting out of these similar realities? What can we do, right? There are just little easy things we can do. I wrote brush teeth here, right? So, like I said before, we are programmed to be on this autopilot mind with these habits and these routines. We're not changing much. So I challenge you to say tomorrow you get up in the morning and instead of brushing your teeth with your usual hand, me being right-handed, I normally brush my teeth with my right hand, I challenge you to get up and brush your teeth with your left hand. You're breaking that programmed routine and you're doing something completely different, and that is what shifts your timelines. So you're brushing with your left hand, which you've never done. So for example, I've been programmed to brush with my right hand since I was a small child, and only recently I've been doing this, like brushing with my left hand just to play around with reality, you know. But it's something that, you know, I never thought of doing before because you're just programmed to do it. So I challenge you to give it a go. Now the other thing is to stretch yourself. When you what that means is like you start doing things that are spontaneous or things you normally wouldn't do. Step out of the comfort zone, challenging yourself that way, stretching yourself beyond what you normally would be doing, right? Because in the unknown is where the magic happens. So when you stretch yourself, you're putting yourself in the unknown when you're doing something spontaneous. You know what I'm saying? You get me? Okay, cool. So the next thing is your decisions and choices. The decisions and choices you make in life are going to determine which timeline you're on. And I intuitively knew this before I even knew about parallel realities. I intuitively knew when you make a decision and choice that it's going to go down one path or the other. You're going to end up in a different reality or experience a different life depending on what decision you make. And because I intuitively knew this, I have always sort of taken my time and put thought into making decisions. So be mindful, whatever decisions and choices you make in life are going to determine which parallel reality you're shifting to. So remember, like Bashar says, we're shifting 1 billion parallel realities per second. We're constantly shifting. So every time you make a choice and a decision, you are shifting. The last thing here says taking action. Take action in the preferred direction that you want your life to go to shift to that timeline. You've got to take action. That is key. Because that's part of here. Think, feel, act. Act, that's your behavior, right? And taking action. If you're like, oh, I want to start up a podcast. Oh, I might be a bit nervous to start up a podcast. But by you taking the action of starting up the podcast, it's shifting you to a different timeline. This is that simple, right? So I'm going to use another wee diagram to help you understand this better onto how to, you know, get to the reality that you want. So this here is, we'll say that's you, right? And then we have our little branches, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. That's the you now. Now, we put all these other circles. Bashar says there's infinite parallel realities. I'm not going to draw infinite, obviously, so I'm just going to draw a few around here so you get the idea. These are all different realities. We put AR in there. AR stands for alternate reality. So we put that in there. Oh, that looks like an A, but it's meant to be an R. Okay, alternate reality. Oh. So there's so many different realities, like there's infinite amount. There we go. And so each of these alternate realities have their own thoughts, feelings, and actions. I'm not going to do all of them because it would take too long, just enough so you get the idea. So all these different realities, thoughts, feelings, actions, right? You get the idea. So this is you, and let's say this reality right here is your ideal reality. This one's the one that you want to get to, right? How do you do it? You have to envision. I'll use myself as an example. Let's pretend this is me. This is the reality I'm in now. The reality I want to get to is I want to be a YouTuber with a following, but I want to make a living helping people learn about this sort of stuff, but also healing their past, healing their traumas. That's my goal. That's the alternate reality I want to get to, right? So there's a gap between me and the reality I want. So how do I get there? So I have to start envisioning the version of me that's already a successful YouTuber, that's already successfully making a living, helping other people, helping heal them. So I have to ask myself, how does that version of me think, feel, and act? Think, feel, and act. How does this version of me think, feel, and act? Like, what's my routine like? Do I get up early? What do I dress like? What's my work ethic like? What do I eat? Like, you start thinking about all of this, how do I feel? I feel worthy, I feel like proud of myself. Like, you have to start envisioning this using your imagination. That's key. Envisioning how the version of you is thinking, feeling, and acting, right? So once you've envisioned that, okay, I've got a bit of an idea of what this person would be like, you now have to, in this reality, so I'm still in this reality, I now have to start thinking and feeling and acting as this person in this reality, right? So that I can get to that reality. So it's your state of being, which is your way you think, feel, and act. You have to mirror and start acting as that person. Start thinking, feeling, acting as the person that you want to become to bring that into your reality. There can be a problem though, right? Because there's a gap here. Now, the issue is we can have things, I'm going to put it over here, that block us from getting to that reality. We can have blocks. Blocks can be like, unhealed childhood wounds, self-limiting beliefs, that the ego with the self-doubt voice, like you're not good enough, you can't do this, no one wants to listen to you. You know what I mean? These different things can come up and block you from getting to that reality. So we have to work on ourselves. We have to work on our blocks. We have to work with our ego. We have to heal these versions of ourselves. We have to drop these self-limiting beliefs. And it can sound like a bit of work, and it is, but at the same time, it's beneficial. Like, the best thing you could work on is yourself, right? So you just have to be mindful that to get the reality you want, you've got to mirror the the way that person thinks, feels, and acts. Think, feel, and act like. Sorry, I need burp. You think, feel, and act like that person now, but just be aware that you could be blocking it because of self-limiting beliefs, childhood wounds, the ego, and your self-doubt. Things like this. So just be mindful of it. But another way you can tap into this, so once you've got the idea of how this person thinks, feels, and acts, right? Like, you're like, okay, yep, I think this is how the person would think, feel, and act. What you can do is simply go into meditation. Get into a meditative state, and you start embodying that. Now, when you go into a meditative state, what happens is your brain waves are going to slow down. You're going to, like right now, I'm in beta brainwave. We were awake, alert, we're conscious. When you shut your eyes, your neocortex is going to slow your brainwaves down. You're going to drop into alpha, and then you drop into theta. Theta is the brainwave state you need to be in. This is where it's basically like your body's asleep, but your mind's still awake. But it's also like where you're in that kind of like a light sleep, or sort of like it's even where your like REM cycle is, because we drift when we go to sleep at night. We drift through these brain waves, and when we wake up, we drift back through the other way, like from beta, alpha, theta, delta, and then and delta is where we're like fully asleep, like full on deep asleep. We want to get into theta. Theta is when the subconscious mind is wide open, and you do, obviously, like I said, you do this through meditation. As you close your eyes, you're disconnecting from the outer world. Your neocortex, the part in your brain, is going to slow down your brain waves, and you're going to end up dropping into theta brain waves. So this is where your body's like asleep, but your brain is still awake. And again, like I said, this is where your subconscious mind is wide open. So what you do is you go into the meditative state and you start feeling, you start embodying that feeling of this person here. Like you feel the emotions as if this is already your reality. So again, I'm using me as an example. So I feel the emotions of me as a successful YouTuber or a successful spiritual entrepreneur or spiritual coach that's out here healing people. I feel the emotions as if it's already here, as if I'm already that, like that person. How would I feel? I feel pretty happy. I feel pretty proud of myself. I'll be just so excited that I'm able to help people and I'm reaching people and I'm teaching this sort of stuff, and I'm very passionate about working against the elite who are trying to spiritually suppress us. It's like, you sort of just embody the emotion, because feeling is the secret. That's a book by Neville Goddard. The first chapter talks about like the law of consciousness. Feeling's the key. The emotion is the key. You tap into the emotion of that person you want to become. How do they feel? You act as if you're that person already. You think, feel, and act like that person, and you're going to bring it into your reality. And like I said, doing meditations where you can drop into theta and you're feeling those emotions of that person, it's gonna bring your ideal reality in. You're going to shift to the parallel reality that you want. But again, just one thing I want to point out before I end this video is there can be blocks. You can be blocks. So this is why it's highly recommended to, heal yourself. Heal, if you've got past traumas or childhood wounds, or if you notice yourself, if you've got self-limiting beliefs. I might do another video on self-limiting beliefs again, but self-limiting beliefs can be running in the subconscious mind, and we can be unaware of them, and they can create blocks. So it does take a little bit of work, but I think that's pretty much the overall package, really, is like sort of just be mindful of your childhood wounds. What beliefs are the same thing as the story you're telling yourself. So what's the story you're telling yourself? If you're saying, I'm not worthy of being successful, that's a self-limiting belief. So you need to be mindful of that stuff. But when you feel the emotions, that's really key. That is how you bring things into your reality. And if you haven't read Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard, I highly recommend getting that book and giving it a read. It's extremely beneficial to know what I've only read the first chapter and it's blown my mind. So it's really beneficial to read that book and really understand, because it talks about the law of consciousness. So it's really understanding consciousness, how it works. And at the end of the day, that's all you are. You're not your name. You're not your body or avatar. You're not your race. You are just simply consciousness. You're simply awareness, and that's that. So understanding how consciousness works is how you create your reality. If you got some sort of value out of this video, guys, give me a thumbs up or write a comment. And if you like this sort of content, then subscribe and hit the bell notification. I hope you have an awesome day. I hope this video helped you. I hope I see you on the next one. Peace.